out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes. Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
He's got the scoop, faster than
Hey, what do you think of the new song, huh?
calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold.
Thanks, Prometheus.
With a laugh
Pretty catchy, isn't it?
he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every
Very
night.
nice when you just have someone who enjoys the program come in and says, hey, we want to make something for you, and boom, this is it. There you go. That's our new song. Yeah, we're gonna have to change the Little River Heating and Air to he's keeping warm. It's 30, and we have a few flying flurries outside. Yeah, but there you go. That's the new song there. So I hope you dig that. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat room at all the professional door text line 540-391-0788. Yes, we were bringing the funk. We were, Brian. Thanks to everybody who has put in T-shirt orders. Quite a few of you have also paid. So most of you are localish. So we're going to figure out a best way to maybe have one spot to pick all these up. We'll figure it out. If you need the shirts shipped, it's $27. I went to the post office, tried to find the cheapest route, but I can get them in one of those really nice bubble mailers for $27 here domestically. And hopefully we don't have to ship. In case people forget, there's the back and there's the front. And we've had some people request XXX. So I'm looking into maybe get a few of those, and a couple of people want small. So maybe I can try to get 5 of each. So I'll let you know. But if anybody wants a shirt, hit me up on the text line 391-0788, or just hit me up direct messenger. Might be the best way, either through Rick Watson or Big Dog Sports Talk. however you want to do it. I've got everything organized. I have everybody down. I have your shirts pulled, and the people who have paid, I have you in a separate stack. So I worked on that yesterday. So we're good. Coming up today, Jermaine Ferrell, we're going to round out the high school football final standings going into the playoffs. Which local schools made it? Phil Elmassian, and then Todd Grantham, who's going to give us the absolute latest on what's going on with the Virginia Tech job. He's got info. So many ignorant things being posted throughout the weekend, I just kind of scoff. Oh, Opal, love you, but I got to disagree with you. Let it snow, she says. Good morning. I hope you had a good weekend, Opal. Not a fan of the winter weather, this guy. From the Japanese hot springs in Hakone to the Virginia hot springs in Bath County, BDST is online. Morning to my main podcast dog. Hey, Morris, I'll tell you what, he's been sharing a lot of his pictures over there in Japan. That's been great, man. The bullet train, good Lord. Technology, awesome. But I appreciate that. See, I didn't get to go when Radford went a few years ago. I was a limited travel party, obviously. It wasn't inexpensive. Hey, Carrie, how are you? Who's winning the Super Bowl? Colts and Packers. Oh, man, who knows? It's so up and down. Hey, Rodney, good morning. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Too early? I'm going to cop out and say too early. I think the Lions are going to be somebody to contend with in the NFC. The Rams look really good to me. Matthew Stafford's playing really well. I mean, the Eagles are going to be there. We'll see about the Pack. And the AFC, it's always going to come down to the Chiefs. They're going to work their way back up. Yeah. We'll see. Definitely not the Commanders. And how about the Commanders? You talk about some horrible visuals from them. Are they just a dirty team? The punch to St. Brown's head, that guy's he may be done for the year. Got up in Jared Goff's face. I think the Lions are like working them the whole game, and they're just – and then the kid scores a touchdown. He spikes the ball into the camera lady on the sideline and hit her right in the face. Did you see all that? What's going on in Washington, man? What are they, 3-7? Jeez. I had them going to the Super Bowl. I missed that one. That program has fallen completely apart. Yes, the refs will help the Chiefs to the Super Bowl, 100%. And I usually don't watch Sunday Night Football unless the Broncos are playing. And I didn't, but apparently today I wake up and everybody on X is ripping Collinsworth because apparently he just went off a couple of times, completely ignoring the Steelers and Chargers and just talking about Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. He's got a man crush. That's why people do the impersonations of him, loving the Chiefs. Good morning, Steve. Yeah, I had the Commanders, and they've completely fallen apart. I think, unfortunately, it looks like Jaden Daniels is going to be an injury concern his whole career. He can't stay healthy. And Dan Quinn has lost control of that team. That stuff yesterday, man, the personal foul, the punch, the slam. How do you just spike a ball into a woman's face? And the league's not going to do anything? I mean, he can say he didn't mean to, I want to, but he looked right down at her. I just don't understand. It's a bad – the NFL and college football too, I don't know about you, but the NFL in particular, it's unbearable because you can't make one play without some kind of posturing or showboating. You can't make a tackle. You can't break up a pass with having to make it all about you. And then you got this stupid ass, whenever they keep doing it, whenever there's a turnover, the whole defense has to run down into the other end zone. It's just, and the league just lets this stuff go. Just make a play. Go back to the huddle. You're doing your job. A lot of times guys, cornerbacks will break up a pass. They have nothing to do with the play they're making. Like the ball's overthrown or the receiver drops it, and then they do that whole sword thing like, yeah, don't come over here. You watch a game. I'm not exaggerating. There's not one play that doesn't have some kind of showboat reaction. A 2-yard dive play, guy makes a tackle. He's going to get up, and the league's just promoting this. It's just sportsmanship's out the window. And that's not entertainment. People are going to say, oh, you want to bring back the no fun league. No, that's not what I'm saying. There's a difference between, celebrating with your teammates in the end zone after a touchdown to where you're just doing stuff and then all this other stuff. But it's just unwatchable. It's college football. It's a lot the same in college football. Now, they're a little more strict about flagging it in college football. But the NFL, it's just, oh, my goodness. Yeah, but I bet if you touch Mahomes in a game, bro will scream ref and flag. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, go read that UTEP study where the favorable calls since Mahomes got with Reed in Kansas City. And these are the kind of things that get unaddressed by the league. This is why people now, especially with what happened in the NBA. And, oh, by the way, did you see the scandal yesterday in baseball? You got 2 pitchers who were intentionally altering the way they pitched to make money, and bettors were making about $500,000 on ball 3, ball 4. So a guy who already had $1 million contract, had a great career, decided to give in to the bettors for he was getting like $5,000. And now his whole career's over. He may go to jail, and his reputation is done forever. But yeah, the NFL it's a product that's waning. The ratings haven't caught up with it yet, so they're going to ignore it. They're going to continue to ignore it. But it's a product that's waning. It's not a great product most Sundays. There are a lot of close games the way the league's designed, but it's bad. Yeah, I did see the Tyreek Hill injury. Yeah, I did. He might be done just because of that injury. It's going to be tough to come back from. But man, oh man, just watch any game. It's just, I don't know. And I don't know how we've gotten from one extreme to the other, to where the league was accused of being too strict. I would rather them go back to being too strict, to be honest. Right? Yeah. Salem River Yaks. They got so much pushback. I don't know what Salem River Yaks, how that works in this area. When you had to come out with another post explaining it or trying to explain it, you've done it wrong. That is the epitome of trying too hard. River Yaks? Did anybody take the time to read the explanation as to why they chose a yak here in Southwest Virginia? I'm with you, Paul. I'm at the point, if there's just a generic NFL game on, I'm not watching it. And this is the way, that's why this whole ESPN thing has backfired. People are really revolting against this whole Disney being pulled from YouTube TV. Now, YouTube TV is not guiltless in this, because yesterday they sent emails to, all their customers, including me. You're going to get your $20 credit, but there's things that we have to do to achieve the credit. No. You see, what you do is you just knock $20 off the bill. It shouldn't be up to the customer to have to go through these steps to receive their credit. So Now people are very angry at them. None of these folks care about us, the customers, the fans. Just least of all ESPN and Disney. If anybody looks up why they chose river yaks, and they had some explanation they went into. People were ripping it. I was reading some of the comments like, what are you doing? River yaks? Who sat in a room down there or wherever that was decided and went, yeah, people around here all the time are talking about yaks. And there's rivers. There's waters. And the thing about it, isn't the Pulaski team called the River Turtles? We're just going to throw river into all the regional baseball teams now? The river yaks. I know when you're out there and you're fishing and you're wading around, you're fly fishing or in your boat cruising on the new river, watch out for the yak traffic. Yeah, look it up for me, Carrie. Thank you. Tell me why they chose yaks. Because was there some point in the 18th century there may have been a yak population here? Has anyone ever mentioned Southwest Virginia and the word yak in the same sentence until they came out with their new logo, their new mascot? But anyway, the NFL, it's not a great product. And it's going to always rate, and they don't care. As long as people are watching, they don't care. No one's going to listen. They're not going to listen. Yeah, and it couldn't be anything like the Indians to pay heritage because, it may hurt some people's feelings. Yes, and the people's feelings it will hurt would be white people. Not the group that you would think that it would offend. River yaks. River turtles, river yaks. So, anyway, that's where we are coming out of the weekend. But yeah, let me know. And thank you, everybody who's put in shirt orders and paid. We have you ready to go here. Just got to figure out a way to get it to you. These are very nice. Very nice. They'd be a great Christmas gift. A great Christmas gift. Maybe I should just try to look it up. See, I'm doing what I asked you not to do, or what I asked YouTube TV not to do. Don't make it up to the customer. Let's see what they say. Salem River Yaks. I guess I better do that now. Oh, I'm sorry. Salem Ridge Yaks. It's not River. Oh, I was wrong. My apologies. It's Ridge Yaks, not River Yaks. Okay, that makes at least more sense. At least they didn't use. Let's see here. Where's the Ridge Yaks? So my apologies for getting it wrong there. But I'm trying to see. They put forth an explanation because people were just like, what? What's a Ridge Yak? Here we go. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. This makes me want to yak. Please explain the logo. This makes no sense. Right? If this needs this much explanation, then it's wrong. They had to be stoned to come up with this one. Let's see. So why did they take Ridge Yaks here? Let's see. People are putting their better logos up. Wait a minute. They did it because of a kayak? Really? Ah, the native Appalachian yak. Ridge Yaks. So they took it off a kayak. They shortened the word kayak and use yak. People are saying they don't have yaks in Virginia, but apparently that's not what they mean. All I know is there are dozens and dozens, hundreds and hundreds of people that are either making fun of this or think it's stupid. So what that means is you did it wrong. The Salem Ridge Yaks. The logo has a yak with a paddle trying to look intimidating with his life vest on as he paddles. Kayak, yak, Ridge Yaks. Call the neighbors, wake the kids. We're going to go watch the Ridge Yaks play. Yes, Salem Sasquatch would have been much better. You could have done a lot with that. You put a Bigfoot in a baseball uniform with a bat, like a broken bat because he's big and strong. There's a lot you could do. I mean, a whole lot you could do. Ridge Yaks. You'll see how much merch they sell. Kayaking, so they use yak, is what it said, is what it looks like to me. So they're not even actually doing it after the animal, but yet they have a yak setting in a kayak. These are the same people who designed the current NFL color rush uniforms. But anyway. Be sure to call the folks at Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio, 540-200-8294 at familyfencingnrb.com. Go see Mark Hunley at McClellan Chiropractic right off of Peppers Ferry Road. He has all of your best interests in mind. He'll take care of your back and anything else you might need. Professional Door Incorporated, Travis Williams up in Dublin, right across from New River Community College, Route 100. They're looking for people. Go by, talk to them. Start a new career, garage doors, and you need to have a good mindset. You're going to work hard. You're going to be treated right. Start at $20 an hour, man. The Ready Set Fund is ReadySetFund.com. Go see your local rep, Bob Christ. Bob Christ, CRIST 11. Bob in front of that, BobChrist11 at gmail.com. He is the legendary Blacksburg football coach's brother, Dave. So in other words, Floyd County High School softball needed some money, so they raised $4,000 through the Ready Set Fund for their program. ReadySetFund.com. It's a great way to do it. So check it out. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST on YouTube. Help me come up with a attorney Ryan Pry fan question of the week. 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. And we've already talked about them. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. You want to be on the warm side of that. And thanks again to Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, the presenting sponsor of this program. And congratulations to all the folks up there, Jonathan Sweet, Tim Miller, for announcing the opening of the racetrack once again coming up this spring up in Pulaski County. It's awesome. It's awesome. Google said yak is slang for home run. I've never heard of yak as a home run. I'm not questioning you, Opal. I'm just saying when they wanted a mascot no one else had. They released 5 logos, and none of them have anything to do with baseball except for a baseball stuck through one of the horns in one. Has anybody ever heard of a home run, a yak? Oh, there's a yacker. Never heard that. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, 300 North Franklin Street, Christiansburg. Give James Lawson a call, 540-301-811. And call the NRV Super Bowl 382-5525 and reserve your lanes today. And make sure you get your vehicle from Harvey's GM in Radford. I bought my last 3 vehicles there. But yeah, yesterday I posted up on the Facebook page. It came out. Luis Ortiz, Emmanuel Clace charged. And again, they rigged pitches during counts for about $5,000 or so. In other words, you can bet every pitch. This is where we are with betting. Ridge yaks, river yaks, same crap. The ridge part supposedly for the Blue Ridge Mountains. Jason, crazy name seemed to sell more merch. We'll see. We'll see how the Ridge Yaks merch goes. It just feels like it was overthought, doesn't it? The bettors, by the way, in that baseball scandal wagered on the speed and type of Emmanuel Clace's pitches based on information they knew in advance by coordinating with Clace, sometimes even during games. Well, no kidding. So they were indicted. Numerous examples. And Ortiz joined the scheme last year. And it's a very subtle way in which to make bettors money that maybe don't affect the game as much. So, and all this does is continue to make fans like us question everything we watch. Again, you can't watch an NFL game without thinking something's going on with the way it's officiated. The lack of credibility. Rodney says, I wonder if a committee came up with Ridge Yaks. In college, I've done plenty of yakking. Nothing had anything to do with baseball, David says. Yeah, I've never heard that. Never heard yak. Boy, he gave up a yak in the 8th, didn't he? Sometimes you just overthink things. How about letting the fans be involved when you're going to change your brand? The people you're trying to sell merch to, the customers. How about, either doing a poll with 4 finalists or letting them send in ideas? A lot of minor league teams have done that very successfully. And then you have buy-in because they've helped. Oh, we've got a UFC betting scandal too. I'm not surprised. Telling you, it's going to get worse, folks. We're just now coming out. Now that this has come out in the NBA, the league is still just sitting around not responding much. Now that this has happened in baseball, it's going to blow the lid off the NFL. It's going to blow the lid off. It's already blown the lid off college basketball a little bit. It's going to blow the lid off college football. We've already seen an official get fired from the SEC who's been doing it for 4 decades. We had that investigator group, a month and a half ago, say that it's very alarming that so many, especially mid-major programs, were involved in point shaving. And it's going to be a question to us, how much are we going to take? Right? An account called Foolish Baseball Head figured Clace out in June. His normal rate of waste pitches is 4%, but on the first pitch in an appearance, it was 17%, and it looked fishy all along. Yeah, there you go. Jason, I can't even watch an NFL game, period. Yeah, it's tough watching. I mean, you name it. No matter how simple the play is, somebody's going to be making some kind of, hey, look at me, look what I just did motion. Just dumb. Yakety yak, don't talk back. Oh, goodness, Joseph. The Ridgeacks. That's going to roll off the tongue for their broadcaster. He'll just shorten it to Yaks. And especially, too, when, yak is, yeah, okay, kayak, but don't you, somebody's already mentioned it in chat, especially your college days, throwing up is yakking. That's not a nice thing to be associated with. Yeah, the NFL's coming, Opal. There's no question. No question. Yeah, as much as we nitpick officials, the back judge in the Indiana-Penn State game, I mean, that was one of the most beautiful catches I've ever seen in my life. The Indiana kid, they feel like a team of destiny after that comeback at Penn State. And it's the first time I've seen Kurt Signetti emotional. Now, he was almost in tears after the game. That was a special moment. The Mendoza kid may have won the Heisman. It'll probably go to the Ohio State kid. Tina says, say it fast 3 times. It sounds like rejects. Ridgeacks. Oh, it does. Opal says, my cat yaks up hairballs all the time. See? Yeah, Indiana might be a team of destiny. Yeah, I don't know about the kickoff either. That was bad. I like that, Tina. Ridgeacks. We'll see if Salem baseball fans Ridgeack the new logo and mascot. Get it? Because you said reject. Virginia Tech basketball's 2-0. Wild overtime affair. They won against Providence on Saturday up in Uncasville. And Radford 2-0 after they expectedly beat up on West Virginia Wesleyan last Friday. I'll be heading to Chapel Hill tomorrow. Radford takes on a little different caliber of opponent. North Carolina coming off a huge win against Kansas on Friday. Yeah, we're now, thanks, Wayne. I forgot. We're just one. Is it just one now? We're one away from 700 subscribers. Please subscribe and we'll hit the 700. Maybe we can hit the 700 mark this morning, which is amazing. We got to 2 away yesterday. We're one away. So let's get to 700. Remember, if you already subscribed, it's absolutely free. So let's hit the 700 plateau. Let me know. Yeah, bad weekend for the ACC. Bad weekend. The league, this is why places like Virginia Tech, Florida State, if any other jobs come open, are very attractive just because it's the easiest path to the playoff. The league is just not very good. Virginia at home. Look, I have a lot of respect for what Coach Dickert's done at Wake. We've talked about that. They get coaches right, and we saw them in Blacksburg. But Wake the previous week went out to Florida State and just absolutely got blown out, right? Got embarrassed by a Florida State team that's reeling, right? Florida State lost to Clemson. They host Tech this weekend. Virginia, top dog in the league, undefeated, can't beat Wake at home. Their luck finally ran out. Their close game magic ran out. You knew it's probably the easiest bet, why not, that you could have made on UVA, that eventually they were going to lose one of these games. And now how does that affect them going forward? That's a really bad loss for them, only because it was at home, not because Wake's a bad team. I have a lot of respect for their season, the kind of year they're having. But they just got absolutely ran out of the stadium down at Doak Campbell the week before. Louisville, 18-point favorites at home, can't beat California, the team Tech beat in double overtime. Jeff Brom was very upset after. He should be. He didn't have his team ready. He said that. That makes the league look terrible. And then to top it off, Duke can't beat UConn. How bad is the ACC? Miami has already flushed themselves down the toilet. Who knows who's going to be in the ACC title game at this point? So now it's gone beyond being competitive to where you can go, hey, this league's just so good. Now, what it means is these teams aren't really good enough, so then you lose games. Nobody's watching any team in the ACC right now and going, whew, boy, we want to avoid them in the first round of the playoff. That's why the Virginia Tech job, anybody, James Franklin, anybody looking at it has to go, wow, you know how quickly we can come up and be right there? There's no more best team in the SEC. Week to week, everyone yacked. See? Rejects. Reject. Now I can't get Tina's thing out of my mind. Rejects. Yeah, they'll have to be an ACC team. Unfortunately, for the playoff, yes. Whoever wins the conference title game will be in the playoff. So, too bad the NCAA has the dumb rule if you move up a division for 2 years, JMU may miss the playoffs. It helped them. The Tulane win over Memphis helped them, and they are number 24 in the country right now. Congratulations to Coach Chesney and Tater, Matt Roan. That's right. JMU is ranked number 24. And anybody who's watched UVA the last few weeks and watches JMU, if there's still anybody that wants to claim JMU is not the best team in the state, then I don't know what you're watching. I hope the Dukes get a shot. They likely won't, but I hope they get a shot. Yeah, I hear, Wayne, that JMU's got a pretty good coach. I hear they have a fairly stable program that maybe a lot of power programs should look to. I hear the best coach in the country right now may have come from there. I mean, that's my understanding. You can talk about Seth Greenberg's arrogance, not wanting to listen to Del Curry and look at Steph Curry and offer him a scholarship as being the biggest poor decision in recent memory from a Tech coach in terms of a recruit. Well, Whit Babcock and Virginia Tech trumped that 4.5 years ago when they refused to seriously consider Kurt Cignetti for the Virginia Tech head coaching job. I'm going to save all the James Franklin talk for Todd Grantham because he's got late intel at 8 o'clock. How's that for a tease? Yes, the only loss for JMU is Louisville. But unfortunately, given the league in which they play, because it's, let's just say it the way it is, we know that's a pretty good league, but the folks in charge of the playoff, if they could have beaten Louisville, you're looking at a top 15 team, and then there's absolutely no doubt that they've got their own playoff destiny probably in front of them. They're going to have things fall their way. But I'd love to see them get the opportunity, even though it didn't work out for Liberty. I think they would stand a little bit better. Now, keep in mind, Liberty was playing Oregon. Oregon was really good that year. But I'd love to see that team get a shot at the big time and just see how they handle themselves. Absolutely would love it. So whereas Tech basketball didn't offer Steph Curry, and he talked about it a whole lot, so did Dell. Right? What's a bigger error in judgment? That or during the firing of Justin Fuente, when you're out vetting coaches, you don't seriously consider a guy who probably would have taken this job in a heartbeat. And now we see what he's done. Here is where revisionist history definitely plays into it. And the easy answer for me is it's the miss on Curt Cignetti, because that's the football program, and that's where all the money is made. Yeah, it's a big, big error. And every time you watch Seth Greenberg running his mouth, if you watch anything that's on ESPN, I don't know why you would, just remember he was a guy that said Seth Curry wasn't good enough. He's not Virginia Tech caliber. And he was a legacy. You know, his dad, I understand, was pretty good. Waddell Curry, at number 30. I understand he was pretty damn good. Every day of my life that I live, and as you get older, I get more amazed at how many people who are making a lot of money, way too much money, that they don't deserve, can't function in their job properly. This is why we have all the problems going on in our world of sports. It's why if you have problems at work, that the people making the most money probably are only looking out for themselves when things are going awry, right? This is why the NCAA has failed. This is why college athletics is failing, and it's failing. This whole, what we're doing now and not having any kind of legislation in the NIL, not saying guys shouldn't be paid, but the way it's going about now is ridiculous. It's amazing to me. Look at all these athletic departments, all these ADs that make bad decisions, all these presidents that are agreeing to these buyouts, these coaches who come in that are being rewarded for being failures at their job. ESPN leaders and the YouTube, all Disney people, not ESPN. I keep saying ESPN, it's Disney. All those people are telling you, they're just looking at the camera, they're just looking at you and giving you the finger. We don't care about you as fans. We don't care about customers. We're a multi-billion-dollar company going up against a $1 trillion company in Google. We don't care. We're going to pull your games. You better go ahead and subscribe. Politicians. Goes down the line. You have a bunch of unqualified people making all the money who don't do their job. And this is why you have all the problems, because nobody cares about the it anymore. They just care about the what they have. They look at their own bank account, their own lifestyle. Let's play politics with the other people who are making a lot of money. It doesn't matter what the product looks like. It doesn't matter about personal relationships. It doesn't matter about the perception of anything. Hey, I'm getting paid. And that's why we have the problems that we have. The people making the money are inept. How about some accountability? Morris says, Seth Greenberg is bigger. Steph wanted to go to Tech. His dad's jersey's hanging from the rafters. Man played at Tech. Dumbest move ever. Talk about ego. Yeah, I get it. I'm just saying from a sport perspective, where would Tech football be right now if Curt Cignetti was the head coach? Probably in the playoff. Right? Look at the ACC. Think how he would have recruited. Hey, look what he's doing there at Indiana. Where would that have been here with the ties he already had to the region in the state? Right? Yeah, brother. Yeah, that's right. The other Curry got to call his games for a little while. He's at Liberty when he played Radford, and then he went to Duke. Started at Duke. Couldn't play at Tech. Is that right? Feels like there should be more. Saw over the weekend, America has 24 million millionaires, more than any other country. Yeah, I wonder how they got there. Crazy, man. Crazy. But that's why we have all the things that are going wrong all over the place right now. These are people that aren't doing their jobs properly. When self-interest becomes bigger than the interest of what you're hired to, to make into something good, then that's why it fails. That's why all this is happening. The greed of the NFL is eventually going to get it. It's eventually going to bring it down. Scandal might do it first, but at some point, the greed of the NFL is going to bring it down. But just imagine Curt Cignetti in Blacksburg for the last 4 years. By the way, here's another example. The college sports program I used to be a diehard fan for, UCLA. They're going to pay $80 million. Listen to this. This is a program that's already in the red. Here's a glowing example of why UCLA is the worst place in the world in terms of college athletics. They're leaving the Rose Bowl. It's about, I don't know, it's a 26-mile drive or something like that from Westwood, and it's in LA traffic. It was always a bad idea. Students aren't going. They don't want to be bused. So they're going to SoFi Stadium, which is much closer. I think it's 11 miles away. So they're leaving the Rose Bowl. They're breaking the lease. This is a program that's already in the red that almost had to eliminate 6 programs a few years ago. They're going to pay $80 million to leave the Rose Bowl. And nobody running that university or running the athletic department is going to lose their job. And just because you have a fancy job title doesn't mean you know what the hell you're doing. And don't tell me ever again, if you're UCLA or any of these other schools, that you don't have money for players in NIL. Don't cry it. I don't want to ever hear it again, because if you're paying $80 million to get out of a lease to a stadium, you've got money to go out and pay your players. Just to get out of a stadium lease. Everyone associated with that school should be embarrassed. But I guess they're too distracted by still celebrating the cold-blooded murder of somebody they disagreed with politically. Where are they going to get that money? Where are they going to make up that money? They're going to be in the red forever. But they are a glowing example of everything that's wrong. Everything that's wrong. I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah, probably so. He agrees with their politics, so I'm guessing probably so. I know he's disgusted with them. I know that. He will criticize them openly on the air during games. Troy will. Opal says, I thought the Commanders was a name, but Ridge Yanks wins. Ridge Yanks. The attorney Ryan Pry, sponsor of our BDST fan question of the week. These schools keep advertising, telling people to call Congress to pass the SCORE Act. The SCORE Act would give the NCAA schools an antitrust exemption, which allowed them to limit athlete pay. Yeah, and that's what they've always wanted to do. And we need some rules. It's ridiculous what's going on with it. But imagine you as a Virginia Tech fan knowing that you had this money that's finally coming in, and oh, wait a minute, before we can think about spending on anything to improve, facilities, have money there for a coaching staff, for NIL, we have to spend $80 million because we're getting out of a lease early. Can you imagine what the backlash would be to the leadership? Yeah, they are. They're trying to say to save women's sports. Yeah, they're trying to use that. Zero credibility and zero accountability for any of these folks. It's just, I think USC still plays at the Coliseum, don't they? Yeah, the Coliseum is still there. I'm pretty sure that's where USC still plays. They don't play in the in SoFi. Look that up. Let me look that up. Mm-hmm. Yes, they still do. So, yeah, they do. Why did that just happen? Yeah, they play their games at the Coliseum. They've been playing there since 1923, and they used to share that with UCLA. UCLA played at the Coliseum up until, what was it, 80, 83, something like that, and then they went to the Rose Bowl. They wanted their own place. They should have kept that identity with USC, and they both should have just still been playing there. It's right there. It's convenient, the campus. And that's why, since it was each of their own home fields, that's why they started the tradition of each team wearing their dark jerseys. That was really the first of its kind that caught on. UCLA would wear their powder blue and USC would wear their garnet and gold. And then they went to the Rose Bowl and they didn't realize that, people don't want to go there. We didn't expect our program to be one of the worst in the country, with easily one of the worst athletic directors in the country and one of the worst chancellors in the country. We didn't expect that. I don't know who's going to coach those guys. Good luck. There can't be any coach who's looking at first of all, because of, reasons, the tax rules out there, and the lack of just leadership. Who's going to take that job? It would already have to be a West Coast person. None of these guys that are up for these other jobs are going to consider UCLA. What a nightmare situation that is. And it never needed to be that way. Never should have been that. But that's what happens when you start making decisions based on other reasons than the best interest of your athletic program and the money, blah, blah, blah. I thought they had seen the light when they accepted the Big Ten's offer and realized that was the way. And they only did that because they were in the red so badly as an athletic department. It was either join the Big Ten with USC or go out of business. They were going to lose a lot of programs. And then the Pac-12 went out of business. And then they would have been caught up in that. Yakety yak, don't talk about. Hey, we've had 3 or 4 people. See, that's what I'm saying. Ridge Yaks. I'm just glad I was wrong in the opening part of this hour, because River Yaks would have been like, we just have river turtles. Well, it's a Ridge Yaks for Blue Ridge Mountains. But then again, if you're naming it after a kayak, why in the world wouldn't you use river? So then, I don't know how many times you take your kayak up to the Blue Ridge Mountains, just slide right down those slopes. Who wants to live in LA to coach that job? Who wants to live in California, period? Correct. Yeah, that seems like a hopeless situation out there. And now you're $80 million more in debt because you're buying out of your stadium lease. How do people keep their jobs? If you're blatantly costing your university and the UCC system out there this much money, how do people just ignore that? If you and I are in our jobs and we are daily, weekly, monthly, directly the reason that our place of employment is losing money, we're not going to be there very long. They'll make that up in attendance. I'm going to look this up. The average attendance at a UCLA. Listen, how embarrassing is this? Listen to this. The Rose Bowl holds about 104,000 people, right? Their average attendance this year is 35,000. 35,000. Against Utah in the season opener, there were only 27,000 there. NRB Thunder says they couldn't use River in the name because then Salem would have to acknowledge that Roanoke exists. Yeah, I don't know what the buyout's going to look like, Tebow, for the new coach. But Todd Grantham's got some nuggets. You might want to hang on for 8 o'clock. On a related note, the Big Ten sounds like it's going forward with its deal to sell, a 10% stake to private equity for $2.4 billion. That's going to end well. You have to be concerned. As somebody who's been around college athletics, I guess going back to my time with Tech, 30 years, broadcasting, being around it, being in the athletic administration at Radford, everybody does. Robert, RED, everybody does. We have massive concerns of what's going on in college athletics. Nobody, and we're Radford. We're not of the same, it's in terms of all that, we're not of the same financial concern, but there's a lot of concern. I don't know where all this is going to end up. I really don't. But I don't think any of it's going to go well. And when the video went viral of the kid, the quarterback, where was it? Was it at Kentucky, wherever it was? And he's sitting there and he's just got all these $100 bills and he's flipping through them and he's throwing them down. You want to talk about what I feel about how you feel about me? I mean, how does that guy ever play another game? I mean, how are fans ever going to respond to that? But in any event, we'll talk to Phil Elmassian and Todd Grantham about all these things. Right now, there he is. Jermaine Ferrell. Jermaine, how are you? Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir. How are you on this frosty Monday, as they say?
We're hanging out, man. We're hanging out. Out.
I'll be in your neck of the woods this evening.
Are you really? What are you doing?
I'll be speaking at the Western Virginia football officials. Well, wait a minute, hold on. Let me get the title right. I butchered it just.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. What is it?
It's the Western Virginia Football Officials Association speaking at their banquet this evening.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Well, that takes us right into what we need to get into here.
Yeah, they scraped the bottom of the pudding cup to have me on there.
Folks have been asking, how did we do after Friday, what are we looking like in terms of local teams, postseason setting up? What do we got?
And we got a lot going on. I can tell you that right now.
We got a lot of teams playing, don't we? We did well.
We got a lot of teams, and we'll have all that there. In fact, hold on, let me grab my list. Hold on a second.
All right, yeah, get the list. Yeah, this is good.
Grab my list. Because still trying to figure it all out as we go, but I think we pretty much got it. The problem is, of course, the regions have to get the regions have to send stuff to the VHSL. And the thing is, when the VHSL had it all, I mean, you would have the brackets and stuff out, but obviously they've left it up to the regions, and sometimes we just don't get it all at the same time, which can be tricky. So, you get some information here that's not always accurate, so you're almost depending on that. And the regions, they've done a tremendous job, but again, you kind of like the VHSL to kind of have a handle on it and would have it all. So we'll get through all the brackets, and that's what we're here for. We're here to give information. Whatever information I don't have, we'll have it all. But looking at right now, first of all, we're going to start from Region 5C, and Patrick Henry, they'll be the top seed, and they will host Franklin County. Franklin County, even though they lost to William Fleming, they got into the playoffs, so that's real big.
Good.
So they'll be the number one. PH will be the number one seed. Franklin the 8. And then on that other side, you're going to have a couple of Richmond teams in the 4-5 game. Midlothian hosting Heritage, which will be – all these games will be Friday at 7. And then you will have also in the other side of the bracket, William Fleming, they ended up getting the 3 seed. So they'll host Douglas Freeman. That team's out of the Richmond area. That'll be at 7 o'clock. And then the winner will face up against the winner of the other side of the bracket, Highland Springs, the 2 seed, taking on Glen Allen, the 7 seed. Highland Springs, year in and year out, they are a force to be reckoned with. So they're good right then and there. Moving on to Class 4, which will be your the 4D, which will be in our region. Now, real quick, the winner of Region 5C, if I get back to it, the winner of Region 5C will match up with the winner of Region A. Sorry, right there. We'll match up with, Region A. So that'll be your teams in that region. Green Run will face Deep Creek. Bayside will host Salem. That's in Virginia Beach area. Frank Cox will face Floyd Killiam. And Indian River will take on Kempsville. So basically the winner of 5C will face teams from the Tidewater area, because that's that Tidewater region. So in Class 5A will take on C, and then in the state semifinal, and B takes on D. So you'll have that going on right then and there. Meanwhile, over in Region 4D, now what they're doing is once all the regional champions are decided, Rick, then they'll reseed them through the point total. So whoever has the highest point total will be 1, and so 1 will play 4, the lowest one remaining, and then 2 plays 3. So every region, every classification even does stuff differently. So it's you just wish there'd be more consistency, but that's another argument for another day. Now, meanwhile, in Region 4D, the Blacksburg Bruins are back in the playoffs for the first time in 2019. So, Coach Leonard, tremendous job. And every year he's got there, he's improved the team. They've gone from 2 his first year, going from 2 to 4. He says 0 to 2 to 4, now to 5. So it's been tremendous what they've done there. But they will be the 8 seed. They'll face George Washington, who had a big double overtime win over Magna Vista. They're in region or Class 3. But anyway, they'll have that right then and there. And the winner of that will face a 4-5 matchup. The defending regional champion, Sharando, will take on James Wood. Then, and those 2 games will be Friday at 7. Then on the other side of the bracket, Hanley, the 2 seed, they were 1 for most of the time. They dropped down to the 2 line. They'll face Liberty out of Bealton. That's up in Northern Virginia. That'll be Saturday at 1 o'clock. The winner of that game will face another local matchup, Jefferson Forest, the 3 seed, taking on EC Glass, the 6 seed. EC Glass was outside of the playoffs, so they went from outside of the playoff. I think they were 10th in the region, and they got a win over Rustburg, zoomed up to 6th. Now, a lot of people are wondering, well, how how is it that, Salem didn't get in? And there's been a lot of questions about that. And basically it just comes down to the calculation of the points, because I think Salem was like a tenth of a point out of the playoffs.
Wow.
So close. I mean, so close. So you have that, but it was real tight. JF lost in overtime to Heritage, which was a close matchup. But yeah, it's just so close. I mean, Salem, came on strong at the end, ended up winning their last 3 games, finished 5-5 after a tough start. But Salem's schedule was so tough. I mean, that was the thing right then and there. So you'll have that. But yeah, JF had a good year. But Glass, they came on strong at the end too, as they went 5-5 as well. And for them to just zoom up from that, it's been really impressive. So again, the winners will match up in your regional semifinals. But what a run there by that region. But yeah, Blacksburg, kudos to them. In fact, this will be the first time that Salem has missed out the playoffs since 2003. So, year in, year out, we can always count on Salem being in the playoffs. But in this case, they just came up a little short. Meanwhile, we're going to go to Region 3C. Now, this region has a lot of your teams in the the Lynchburg area.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull that up. So I got brackets everywhere. I feel like I'm a bracketologist or something like that.
No, it's good, man. It's good.
Got them all right here. So let me pull that up. So in Region 3C, so Heritage, they were right around the 3 line, and then because they're a big win over JF, they got a lot of points, so they zoomed up to the number 1 spot. So they're the top seed in Region 3C. So they'll face Western Albemarle. They'll host them over at City Stadium in Lynchburg on Friday. The winner of that game will face the winner between Turner Ashby. Now, here's how crazy the brackets are, Rick, because the top 5 seeds were all 9-1. So that's how crazy it was. All had a 9-1 record. So this isn't a case. This is like the 8 seed. Western Albemarle was 7-3. So this is a case where we always talk about you'll have teams that are in the 8 line with like a 2-8 record or 3-7. But in this case, I mean, you go 7-3, you do deserve to get into the playoffs. So they deserve that. So anyway, Turner Ashby will host Allegheny. They're 9-1. Then on the other side of the bracket, the 2 seed is Wilson Memorial. They'll face Fluvanna, the 7 seed. And then the winner of that will face the defending state champions, or Broadway. Broadway is the 3 seed, and they'll face Liberty Christian, the 6 seed. So the defending state champions are in as the 6 seed. I think a couple things are hurt LCA. One, the fact that they only had 9 games, which is tough because you only go by the average of 9. And 2, had a tough loss to Heritage in the playoffs. Meanwhile, in Region 3D, this, Rick, is such a tough region. By the way, the winner of Region 3C will face the winner of Region let's see, we get it up here. Yeah, they'll face the Region. Let's see. All right. So they'll face Region B. So Region B in Class 3 will face Region C. So meanwhile, Region 3D, Magna Vista will face Abington, the top seed. Magna Vista hanging on to the top seed even though they lost. The winner of that will face Carroll County. Carroll County back in the playoffs as a 4 seed, hosting their first playoff game in 15 years, Rick. So the last time they hosted a playoff game was back in 2010.
Good to go.
Carroll County,
good for them.
But they'll host Northside. So Northside gets into the playoffs. Meanwhile, like I said, so Abington, again, the 8 seed. But again, Abington's always going to be a tough out. You can never count them out. And then we have another matchup here. Lord Botetourt gets the 2 seed. They will face K Spring. K Spring back in the playoffs. What a good run by K Spring. K Spring, of course, they had – the irony is their bye week was last week. So they have a bye week, so they're fresh going into the playoffs. So sometimes that bye week and the last week of the season can work to your advantage. And they had that. So they will be the 7th seed, so they visit Lord Botetourt. And meanwhile, a rematch from the regular season, William Byrd, the 3 seed, the defending regional champs, takes on Bassett, the 6 seed. Now, these 2 teams met in the regular season, with Bassett knocking off William Byrd at home in a high-scoring game, 44-35. So that was a big win right there. Now, the winner of that region will face the winner of Region A. Now, that region, again, consists of Tidewater teams, so Lake Taylor, Colonial Heights, Norcom, Tab, Petersburg, York, New Kent, and Hopewell, kind of some Richmond area teams there. And the other side, again, the B region, that's Kettle Run, Warren County, matching up James Monroe, Brentsville District, hooking up Culpeper, Goochland, Skyland, and Meridian. So that is Class 3. Then we drop all the way down to Class 2. And this is the region that has that. Now, Glenver, they're the top seed. But the big news there is Brody Doyot suffered an injury in the game against Floyd County. We don't know really his status, but they took him out. His arm was in a sling in the second half. So he suffered an injury. So if he can't go, that's going to be big. Now, they do have a good backup there, but I mean, Brody Doyot's, of course, been setting beaches on records, but gosh, if he's out, that's going to be tough for Glenver. But Glenver, they will host Nelson County, Rick, as the one plays the 8. The winner of that will face off between Radford and Appomattox. This is a pretty good 4-5 matchup. Appomattox has come on strong as of late, and Radford, it's been playing pretty well as of late. That's going to be a great 4-5 matchup, Rick. And then on the other side of the bracket, the 2 seed Gretna will host Dan River. And then Floyd County, they'll host a playoff game against James River. James River is still looking for their first ever playoff win, as the 3 plays the 6 in that side. Now, the winner of that region, they'll face the winner of Region D, and that consists of Union. They'll take on Lee, Graham at Gate City, Ridgeview at Richlands, and Virginia High to face Lebanon. So that is such a tremendous side of the bracket.
It really is. Wow.
We talked about that, how strong.
Graham and Gate City.
Yeah.
Great rivalry there, too, meeting in the playoffs. I like over the year. That's good. That's good stuff.
Deal. But, yeah, Union has been playing well as of late. They've been the top seed, and they've been rocking the scene, Rick, and they've been playing pretty good. Meanwhile, we're going to go over to Region 1B, and we see that the top seed is Alta Vista. They overcame Sussex Central to get the top seed. So they will host. That's a 6 o'clock kickoff actually over there at Alta Vista facing Cumberland. That's a 6 o'clock kickoff. So Alta Vista will play Cumberland in that ball game. And then the winner of that will face the winner between Luray and Buffalo Gap. That's a 6 o'clock kickoff in a 4-5 matchup. Also, all these are at 6 o'clock. Sussex Central, the 2, will face Surrey County in the 2-7 matchup. And then Riverheads, the 3 seed. Remember, they're back in Class 1. They will host Brunswick in that matchup. And then over in Region 3D, you got Rural Retreat, the 8 seed. They will visit East Side. And then also Chilhowie, the 2 seed. They'll face Twin Springs. Now, the winner of East Side Rural Retreat will face the winner of the 4-5 matchup, Honeacre and Northwood. And then the winner of the 2-7 matchup between Chilhowie and Twin Springs, Rycove, the 3 seed, will face Holston in that matchup. And then we also have one more in Class 1, and you see that's the big region that's been tremendous. So Giles, they got the number 1 seed. They'll face Auburn. Auburn, of course, remember, last couple of years they've been out, but to get back into the playoffs with a 5-5 mark, tremendous job by Auburn in that. Yeah. So Auburn gets in as the 8 seed. The winner of that will face another big-time matchup, Narrows and George Wythe, in a battle of the 4-5. George Wythe 6-4, but Narrows, they're 5-5, but Narrows and George Wythe, that's going to be a fun 4-5 matchup. Then the defending regional champs in state semifinals in Grayson County, they're the 3 seed, 6-4. They will take on Perry McClure as the 6 seed. And then in the 2-7 matchup, Craig County, the 2 seed, they'll host Bath County. And what a year for Craig County, even though they had that tough loss earlier to Narrows, but what a season for Craig County, as they will have Bath County in that matchup. So the winner of that region, as I mentioned, will match up against the winner of Region 1D. So that'll be a good matchup. But yeah, there's your playoffs. And then also
great.
Vista will have the state championship game. North Cross trying to win their 3rd state championship in 4 years. As North Cross, they will take on St. Anne's Belfield. That team, of course, coached by Heath Miller, who is a former UVA and Pittsburgh Steeler. So, yeah, that's your playoffs in a long-winded nutshell.
No, it's good. People wanted to know, man. No, it's good. And congratulations to all the coaches here locally. That's good work. Right. All those young people and all those coaches. And I hope we end up having some teams go a long, long way in the tournament.
And the thing is, I mean, you got all these teams. And like I said, when you talk about playoffs, it is such a battle, because now you have to go on and wreck a 5-game winning streak. So
it's a lot of football left. Yeah.
We still have a month to go, and the thing is, you want to get now to remind everybody, Class 1 and Class 2 championship games will be at Salem Stadium. Class 3 and Class 4 will be at Liberty University in Lynchburg. And Class 5 and Class 6 will be at James Madison up in Harrisonburg. So, Bridgeforth Stadium will host up there. And, of course, Williams Stadium will host in Lynchburg. And, Salem Stadium will have that. So, I mean, really, this is the time of the year. I mean, a lot of teams' goal is to get to Thanksgiving, which basically means if you get to Thanksgiving week, you're playing in a regional final.
Yeah.
So
basically practicing. Yeah.
And that's everybody's goal. I can't tell you, when we talk to teams, Rick, they love that opportunity. They want to practice on Thanksgiving week. They want to practice on Thanksgiving Day, and it's a neat thing to get that opportunity. So there's your playoffs. And, again, we have a lot of teams in the mix, and, hopefully we will have some teams compete in those state championship games. But, yeah, I think it's a good year. Some teams are banged up a little bit, but it'll be interesting how it plays out.
No, it's good stuff, man. Thanks for running through that. Hey, very quickly here, UVA. Not a good look. Wake Forest gets blown out the week before, and then they go to Charlottesville. We had a lot of close misses for UVA, and it finally ran out on them on Saturday against Wake.
Well, it's sometimes when you're on the edge. I mean, it's one of those things. Games are won and lost. It's so close. And Virginia's defense played well, but what happened was when Chandler Morris went out, they're talking about his situation with his injury. I mean,
yeah,
we looked at it at this game. It's like you can only push. It's like driving your car, with gas, and you say, "Oh, I can make it, and then all of a sudden you run out, and the luck ran out. But Virginia defensively played well in the ball game, just offensively. I mean, only get 3 field goals. I mean, if your defense didn't even give up a touchdown. I mean, the touchdown was on special teams. So, in Virginia, I think they're a resilient bunch. They'll regroup from this. And a lot of times, you got to learn. And I think a lot of times people think, oh, we can go and do it. But now they got, 2 games left. You got Duke, and then you have the bye week, and then you play Virginia Tech. But, and the thing is, Rick, now you're bunched up with all those teams with 1 loss. And we talked about
this. That's right.
We said, first of all, hey, if you're Virginia, if you can win out, you control your own fate. But now, I mean, you got all these teams bunched up, in the ACC with 1 loss. And basically, that's the tough thing, Rick, because, now you go down to tiebreakers and you're trying to figure, like right now, I'm looking at the standings and I see, all right, so Georgia Tech's 5-1, Virginia's 5-1, Pitt's 5-1, SMU's 5-1, Duke is 4-1, which makes that game this week, this Saturday, pretty important. So right now you got 5 teams 5-1. And so the thing is, Virginia didn't play Pitt. So the only game I think out of that grouping that they didn't play. I mean, they won't play Georgia Tech. They didn't play Pitt. If I remember right, didn't play Pitt. Didn't play SMU. And so I don't know how you do the tiebreaker out there, because if you beat Duke, that knocks Duke out. So if Duke loses, they're eliminated. So next week's game is pretty much, Rick, an elimination game between Duke.
Agreed.
Losers out. I don't see how you could overcome that, because you would have to, get that win in there. But it's going to be interesting, Rick. I mean, you got these games. I think, like I said, a lot of it's coming.
Yeah, it is. Well, all right, man. We'll have a great week, and we'll see where we are next week with a lot of different things happening. Football.
Yeah, because like I said, we're going to lose a lot of our local teams, but remember, there's local on local matchups, so we'll see how that happens. But yeah, this is the time of the year. The goal, the ultimate goal is to get to December. But if you could make it to, like I said, it's a grind, because keep in mind, you got the regional quarterfinals, the regional semifinals. You have the regional finals, which is the state quarterfinals, then your state semifinals, then your state finals, whereas VISAA, 2 weeks and they're out. So, everybody does their playoffs a little differently. But, and there's going to be a lot of people griping about their team not getting in because of the points. But it's like I said, it's a mathematician. You need a mathematician to figure out the playoff points.
I know. That's
why I say, hey, just send me the bracket and I'll be good to go.
That's it. All right, brother. Have a great week, man. Stay safe.
You too. Take care.
All right. There you go. Good stuff from Jermaine. There you go. Everybody who asked, Jermaine had it for you. And we wish all the local teams great success. There are going to be some local crime, though, as he said. But whoever survives, we always pull for them, and hopefully we'll have some state title. Yeah, congratulations to John. Jason, we got you. Yeah, the Spartans, MED champs. Absolutely. Thanks to Family Fencing, Jason Green and Company, 540-200-8294. Remember, they're going to work through the winter. Yeah. So don't think that cold weather or this, wintertime awfulness is going to hold them back. McClellan Chiropractic Clinic, Mark Hunley, good friend, does a great job. Go see him right off of Peppers Ferry Road. He's got all the latest technology, techniques, man. He'll diagnose what you need and what's going on with you, and you'll be fixed up in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Very honored each and every day to come on and say we're presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, the place I grew up. And that big announcement we had for you last week that they're opening up the racetrack again. It's been a long time coming. So glad that they're now in charge of that. It kind of waned in the last few years before they got ownership changed. And now we're going to see things done, I think, the right way again. And again, that's a great, great thing for everybody. Little River Heating and Air. The heating part's very important right now. 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Go see Charles Lee and Company. The attorney, Ryan Pry. I don't know where to go with our question of the week. Give me some ideas. 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. Anybody has any ideas, we'll start the question tomorrow. I'm not really sure where I want to go with that. If I think of one later, I'll come out myself. National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner, BDST, here on YouTube. Of course, my own personal bank for the last 35 years. Go see Travis Williams, professional door. Residential, commercial garage doors. 38 years they've been in business, and they need help. They have national contracts with Walmart and other places, a lot of regional areas, and they need quality people who are serious about working. $20 an hour if you want to go work and be part of a great company and great people. You just walk in. You can call. That's great. Or you can just walk in. Travis does not care. He just wants to talk to you. And the Ready Set Fund, ReadySetFund.com. Reach out to our local rep, Bob Christ, BobChrist, BOBCRIST, the number 11 at gmail.com. Ready Set Fund is awesome. It's a profit percentage that's been raised to 90%, which is tops in the industry. Go ask Floyd County the money it raised for its girls softball team. So we appreciate them being our latest daily sponsor here on the program. Go buy your next car for Brad Harvey at Harvey's GM. They're the best. They're 3 for 3. They'll be 4 for 4 when I reach out and get them to find my next car. Thanks to James Lawson over at Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. It's 1997. Give James a call, 540-381-8011. And I want to thank all the folks at NRV Super Bowl. They've been serving the community for 25 years. 540-382-5525. Reserve your lanes today. I'm not sure I've ever had a bad time at a bowling alley, especially when I go over to the Super Bowl. I'm not a great bowler by any stretch, but it's just always a good time. Like, you don't decide to go bowling with your buddies because you're in a bad mood. All right? Good stuff. Who is the best team in the ACC this week? Wayne says his vote is Pittsburgh. Well, Tebow says Virginia had no business being ranked 14th in the country. Well, if Chandler Morris is out, all bets are off with how UVA's season may go the rest of the way. You lose your quarterback, especially this late in the year, man. It is tough. We're going to talk to Coach Elmassian about all that here in just a little bit, because that's the one area that you can't have an injury. Kid's been battling through a lot of injuries. He's put in a gutsy performance. He's been terrific. But now if he's unable to finish the year, I got you, Reggie. Thank you. If anybody wants a T-shirt, be sure to hit me up. Send me a message on the text line or hit me a direct message me. Don't put any of your personal info here on chat. But we got you covered. We got all the shirts here. You can't see them right across from me here, stacked up with your names on them. Just got to get them to everybody here locally. If you want them shipped, it's $27. Okay? That's not bad. The Ryan Pry question of the week: who's going to go to the ACC championship? Maybe that'll be our question. That's what we're going to do. Give us your two teams. Who's going to go to the ACC championship? But hang on. We had somebody saying, can we see the shirts again? Yeah, here we go. There you go. There's the back. Nice gray. And then there's the front right there. See there, the secondary logo. And it's great, too. I think this is the perfect blend of, it's not too heavy. I don't like a thick, T-shirt, but that's awesome. And for $30, you can have my signature as well. First of all, nobody's going to want me to sign your shirt. And if you did want to sign it, I would just sign it. I would not charge anyone anything for that. And nobody wants a Rick Watson signature. No. Todd Grantham comes up in a half an hour. Joining us now on the program is that gentleman. He is the coach, Coach Elmo. What's up, brother? Good morning. How are you?
Morning, Rick. How we doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Had, as I was prepping, I do a double duty on Monday. I have fortunate to be on with you, and then I do Greg Roberts.
Yeah.
At 5:30 on WFIR. So, usually on my Sundays, I'll watch. I try to watch the games on TV. I wish I had access to the actual coach's game tape because I would watch the whole thing and really study it. I kind of miss that, but just prepping for Greg's show, I make all these notes, and if I have to go back to my notes, I have a good excuse. I have concussion syndrome. lot
I guess that's true.
Yeah. My coaching, my playing days at Ferrum are catching up to me. So, because those practices were extremely physical. But no, that UVA loss was a tough one. Defensively, just like Jermaine was saying, the thing I love about Virginia and what they're doing, when we were number one in the country back in the 90s season, 1990, our defense was very suspect. We had our best defense was our offense. Sean Moore, Herman Moore, Terry Kirk. And, we lost to Georgia Tech with Scott Sisson kicking that field goal to beat us. Came back to beat Carolina the next week, but then we lost to Maryland and Virginia Tech. And so we defensively, we weren't as deserving. This football team, my point being is, Rick, this football team's deserving. I know one of the listeners saying shouldn't have been in the top 14. I don't know if anybody is playing as good a defense with the talent that Virginia has than UVA in the country. And what they're doing every week as I watch them, and I've been up to their spring practices numerous times, the last couple of years since Coach Roszinski had been there. And they just get better every week defensively. And they're impacting the game in a positive way defensively. I mean, you got 3 turnovers in the game, and their defense holds them to 2 field goals and a punt. There's not many defenses in the country that are doing that are able to do that. And those players are playing. They remind me. It's funny. I was talking to Sean Moore just last week and congratulating him and really happy for what's going on there. Virginia right now really reminds me of some of the Virginia Tech defenses back in the day. Just gritty kids playing, look like a bunch of blue-collar kids playing their tails off, well coached, good tackling, fundamentals are outstanding. The D coordinator and their defensive staff, they're earning all their salaries, and they all deserve raises. They're playing exceptionally well, probably the most consistent of the defenses in the ACC. And there's way more talented teams. You think about it. Can Virginia go down to Florida and beat Florida State on a kid? Can Virginia go into Charlotte or South Carolina and beat Clemson on a kid? Not really. So they're doing a great job. They had the longest run was 18 yards. That's a big stat. Explosive. So sorry about that. That was Brian Stein,
okay.
by the way.
That's Steiny? Oh, tell him you're on the show. Tell him not to bother you while you're on the show. We've had him on several times.
I will. Yeah, if he's calling me, I don't know what the issues are, but I'll tell you, I don't know why he's calling me. But just not that they're rambling, but they just play so well on defense. And I'll tell you, the backup quarterback, the freshman or redshirt freshman, the kid from Nebraska transfer, Kalen, I believe his name is. I can't remember his name. I really liked him. I went up and watched him in the spring. He is a good-looking young man. He doesn't have the experience that Morris has, but he is every bit as talented at a quarterback. I walked up to him. I just introduced myself, having coached at Nebraska, congratulated him on coming to Virginia. I told him, I said, do not leave this place. You stay here and you develop yourself. Because I think in the next year, in a couple of years, he's talented enough to be an impactful quarterback in the ACC. He's got a game under his belt. The last fourth down throw, Wake Forest, sometimes, defenses can do good things too. A lot of people.
Yeah, right.
They go, oh, the quarterback and the offense. Well, I'll tell you, defensively, Wake Forest did a great job of, down there, you're anticipating blitz, and you usually have a man beater route, and they did what's called a smash route, and the inside guy runs a corner. And there's always a rule, make sure you're double in the deep route runner of the two receivers. It's going to be one short, one deep. And they did, and he made a throw, but there was nobody open. Wake Forest had covered everybody. And then you're in it. They only had I think it was a 3-man route, but other than that, it was a valiant effort. Wake Forest is a good football team. People don't understand. They are 6-3.
They are.
Rick, they got no business being 6-3.
They don't. They don't.
They
showed that when they lost to Tallahassee, right? When he went down to Florida State, that kind of felt like, okay, you could see the talent differential a little bit. But then, so the way they bounced back says a lot about that football team.
Anytime you can bring your team back from a loss, not only a loss, a physical butt kicking,
just
come back, go on the road, face a really well-coached, good Virginia football team, and win that game. That game could have gone either way. That game was decided by a play or two. And when it's all said and done, the game was run, the same old adage, Rick, this is a broken record. I'd like $1 for each time I've addressed this. Third downs and turnovers. It's not changing the game of football in terms of percentages of winning that game. It doesn't guarantee. The only guarantees in life are taxes and death. Okay. Yeah. So, as we say, but, a lot of times when I do prepare for the show, for Greg's show or anything else, I always try to think about the Sunday staff meetings. And I really, so for viewers or listeners, it's like, okay, I always put myself in a Sunday meeting and here's what happened in the game, why, we did not reach our goal to win the game particularly. And let me tell you, in coaching, your worst day of your life is a Sunday staff meeting after a loss. Trust me. You're in that meeting with your head between your knees the whole meeting and do not speak unless spoken to.
Yeah, just come in there. Don't worry about if you had breakfast or not. Just go. Just go with your notepad.
I'm telling you, it is 2 hours of I've been to that game, beat yourself up during the game, and now your Sunday you get beat up on a Sunday. But it was a heck of a football game. And then, you really look at the ACC, Rick, it's kind of fun, actually, from a competitive standpoint, because you look at the schedules of Georgia Tech, UVA, Pitt, and Duke, that they all going to play each other, and they're all going to negate each other. So who's going to be standing after, Thanksgiving? That's what it's going to come down to. Georgia Tech plays Pitt, UVA plays Duke, Duke plays UVA, and Pitt plays Georgia Tech. So within this next 2-week period. So, this is the fun part of football. People, just enjoy you can bash the ACC all you want. And I think, they're probably well-founded to a point, but it's actually the next 2 weeks are going to be very fun, very competitive games. And these kids are going to be fighting. They're going to be fighting, getting in that championship game. That's the goal, because the championship is going to the playoff.
Yeah,
that's
the only
your goal.
shot they have. Yeah.
Who cares how many?
Yeah.
You know, if I'm at Virginia, I don't care how many ACC teams are in. But I want to be the one that's in, because it's a guarantee you're in. Every one of those teams have a chance to be in the championship game. All right, they're going to eliminate themselves. 4 of those 2 teams will be in that championship game, and one's going to the playoff.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's Virginia.
I want to ask you, Coach, about the Indiana win. I know you saw the way they rallied.
What a great game.
That game was lost. And this is a team that's been on cruise control basically all year. And then they go in there and they get this unexpected test maybe. Maybe those kids didn't believe in Penn State. Going on the road in conference play is the toughest thing to do, no matter what the record might be. But can you talk about, you were on staffs, you had wins like that. You were in that league for a long time. What it means for Indiana to come through like that and dramatic. You get a kid who makes just an unbelievable play, and to fight through all that adversity. I mean, Kurt Signetti, he's one of the most unemotional, stern people. He was in tears after the game. He was just so overwhelmed by the emotion of it. What can that do for that team now? I think it makes them even more dangerous come playoff time.
Well, the quarterback they got, you know, a lot of times your quarterback.
Yeah, how about that kid?
Can be, yeah. I mean, you look at, I've had the fortune. I think I told you, I texted you one time. I launched Peyton Manning's career in the Gator Bowl.
Right. Yeah, you did. You did.
And I've really, in my career in 40 years, I could drop names, but I had the fortune or the misfortune to coach some of the greatest quarterbacks that's played the game. Breeze, Brady, going way back to Bernie Kosar in the Miami days. And they all, the common trait is 1, the competitiveness, and 2, the composure. And you look at the young man from Indiana, when he had that ball, they had to go, 85 yards? No timeouts. And no timeouts.
No timeouts.
And you saw them on the sidelines prior, you know, they just, you know, he the great quarterback, they want that moment. They have lived that moment because they've dreamed about that moment. I really believe that. Somewhere in this young man's career, he's always dreamed about this opportunity to support, you know, the legacy in the game is important to players. Your legacy is important to what you leave behind in your program you're in. And there's no doubt in my mind, this young man, in his mind, somewhere in his career, he was waiting, and he was born for that situation. And there's not many that are. The Bradys are, the Breezes are. There's a handful of them, that Peyton Mannings, that those guys, they live for this. They can't wait for this. You know, opportunities, people, they thrive on adversity situations. And that's what separates the winners from you know, the great ones to the good ones. They thrive on it. They love this. And that is infectious to everybody on that football team. I've always said this. You've heard me say this. The number one thing an outstanding quarterback will give you is hope.
Yeah.
Without
he who has hope has everything, right?
Without a doubt. And I'm not talking even on the game day, but this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, to the pregame meal on Saturday, to the kickoff. That every player, it affects every player. Defensively, your defense is going to play harder. Your offensive line's going to practice their craft harder to get better. Because the number one thing in this business of football, as a player, a former player particularly, I never wanted to let my teammate down. You know, that was the number one thing that I know I grew up with. You know, don't let your teammate down. Do your job. Don't let the team down. Don't you be the one that's going to cost you. So I think going on, you look at Indiana, everything starts with the quarterback. and filters right through the coach too. And this is a reflection of the coaches. You look at the coaches and you look at the quarterback play, and then you look at the team play. It's all a circle of handling adversities. And that's what Indiana's done as well as any team in the country. And let me tell you, I know Penn State. This is a team that was number 2 in the country.
I know.
This is a talented football team. Okay, they have talent.
They are.
I think the quarterback situation at Penn State is not Big Ten championship caliber position wise, but they got a lot of people. Let me say this to you. If Penn State dropped football and every one of those kids would transfer, there'd be every coach in America be up there, and they would take all 22 of them would be signed in Power 4 teams.
Yeah, Franklin never figured that out, did he? Franklin never figured out the quarterback.
Well, for whatever reasons, it just, it was one game, the UCLA game. I mean, his record in terms of win losses, I know he hadn't beaten he's 2 plays away from playing in the national championship game 2 years ago.
Right.
It didn't get done. Okay. He goes to Oregon. It didn't get done. And after time of body of work, your expectations at Penn State are, hey, we're here to win a national championship. But I'm like you. I think it goes beyond just the winning and losing and beating top teams. Something went south. Something. And it wasn't the loss.
Nope.
Maybe how they lost. And somewhere in that plane ride from L.A. to Happy Valley, which is a long plane ride after a loss, there could have been words, or there could have been things on that plane that, because a lot of time your president of the university's on the plane, your AD's on the plane, your big hitters are on the plane, and it could have gotten ugly,
Well, and I think about this too, Coach. I haven't seen one player post any remorse that he's not there. And I've seen players, and I thought about you too. Last week, what was posted was players were coming forward saying, we realized that our former coach, they didn't say his name.
Wow.
Our former coach wasn't bought in like we were told we needed to be, and we were bought in.
Not good.
So, and as soon as I heard that, I'm thinking, all right, all these Tech fans that are just salivating over James Franklin.
Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, here's what you don't see, and I have not seen this either. And I'm just going back to my experiences. In 1986, Coach Dooley, we were fired, and we beat Clemson. We're going to go play Syracuse on the 3rd game of the year. And that Thursday, prior to the Syracuse game, he announces to the staff, I am no longer the head coach of Virginia Tech. So that I was a part of this, what's going on now, back in 86.
Okay, there you go.
We were one of the first to be fired. There were very few coaches that were fired after the 3rd game of the year in college football at that time. And it was more administrative than anything else. Obviously, it wasn't the win-loss record or, because we just beaten Clemson. At Clemson, they were number 12th in the country. And he was going to sue the school and all that stuff. But here's the key. Here's my point. He goes down and tells that team, this is a team of Billy Myers, Chris Kinzer, Todd Grantham's on the team. I mean, I got all these Southwest Virginia boys I'm coaching in the defensive backfield. Eddie Neal from Graham High, and he goes down and tells that team, I'm no longer the head coach of Virginia Tech. And I could go to my scrapbook, pull it out, and put it on the camera. We will win the rest of our games. The players were really upset. Now, they let us coach the season, but even if they didn't let us coach the season, those players were upset, and they vowed to win out. And other than a loss to Temple, which was forfeited because they played 6 ineligible players, we won out. We tied South Carolina, ended up going by officially a 10-1-1 record, but it's really a 9-2-1, beating NC State in the Peach Bowl. To your point, Rick, I've never heard anything come out of Penn State's program where any of those players I don't care if Coach Dooley was there or not. If they wouldn't have let him finish, those kids were going to win out.
I know.
It was. So it brings back my memories. I've been there. Haven't heard many.
I know. I just feel like there's a lot more that maybe will be discovered, maybe not. But when a school, I just talked about the awful decision, UCLA's buying out of their lease, going to spend $80 million to get it. Makes this is an athletic department in a school that said we're gladly going to eat $50 million to get rid of the coach that had us in the playoff the year before, as you referenced. Why? It's more than one loss. It's more than coming home and just losing to Northwestern.
This is not about winning and losing games. Trust me.
No. And I know he didn't win a lot of big games, but something shifted very quickly there, and we still don't know what it was.
Well, I coached at Washington in 1995, and we tied Southern Cal for the Pac-10 championship. We tied them before they had the tiebreaker rules. We 21-21 in Seattle. And then UCLA ended up beating USC, so it gave Southern Cal a loss and a tie. So we were, I think, 5 or 6-1-1 in the conference. Southern Cal was 6-1 in the conference. But we go down, we play UCLA. Let me give you experience of what's going on with the Rose Bowl and the $80 million to get out. We go down to UCLA, and they had Jonathan Ogden, great All-American Hall of Fame tackle from Virginia. Okay, Terry Donahue used to come in the state of Virginia.
Oh, I know, Kenny Easley. Yeah,
Terry Donahue. Jonathan Ogden. Not good players, Rick. Hall of Fame NFL
Hall of Famers. Yeah,
players. Okay. But UCLA I look at UCLA and Carolina very similar. When they come out of that tunnel, you'll trade every one of yours for theirs. The best, still to this day, as good a looking at kids as you're going to want to recruit. We're playing UCLA out there, and we have more fans from Washington than they do.
100%.
The quarterback in the end zone where the Washington fans are, he had to call timeout in his own stadium.
Too loud. It was too loud, like a home game. It was too loud.
When we played UCLA in the Rose Bowl, one of the Rose Bowls at Wisconsin, I got a big picture up there in my room that I've always kept. One of the things, not many, I threw the rest of them out. And 3/4 of that stadium is red. Out of the 90,000, like 60,000 were Wisconsin fans. The UCLA, it's really sad too. It's really sad. Great university, great traditions. Their academics, very stringent, more stringent than Southern Cal. But still, it's one of those things. If UCLA or Southern Cal's not doing well, it's not good for college football in terms of the past traditions.
Right.
But getting out of that, going to SoFi Stadium, that's not going to help them, Rick. They could be playing. They could be playing on campus. If the way their program is, that student body, they're going to the beach.
That's right. Yeah, there's nobody's bought. Speaking of buy-ins, nobody's bought into UCLA football. The administration, especially, they don't care. They're in the Big Ten. They think, hey, we're in the Big Ten now. That's going to take care of everything. But
even before Pete Carroll got to SC, like I said, having my Pac-10 experiences, they've had 25, 30,000 in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Only 2 Pac-10 schools back then, the old Pac-10 that drew was Washington. We sold Washington, when I was there, 65,000 season tickets. And Arizona State, if they're winning, they'll have a crowd. Oregon was not that Oregon you're seeing now at the time. It was like the old Virginia Tech. You had a good fan base, good support, but it wasn't the Oregon you're seeing now. So the 2 schools with a fan base was Washington, Arizona State. UCLA, they lost their fan base when they lost their program decades ago.
Yeah.
Carroll brought it back, but now it's gone back to mediocrity.
Yeah. No, it has. It has. And Good luck for them trying to dig out of that hole. But it's just amazing to me, Coach. All these places that are, you see all these decisions made by people who, just because they have a lot of money and a title, they're not doing their jobs, and they don't have the best interest of their school.
College football is it's almost like Congress. It's ate your money.
Yeah, you know what?
It's easy to spend somebody else's money. When you think about it, the word million, or even to the point, it's going to get to billions, but we're talking millions and millions of dollars. That's the conversation of college football. The problem is, you thought it was just going to be in the off season. Oh boy, we're going to wait. We're good. The season's here. Let's go play football. It's still the conversation, and what's really enhanced it, the money during the season conversation, is all the coaching firings. That's, just when you thought there was a calm here and let's let college football play out and enjoy the sport and talk about the players and the programs. But this is what the national championship game has done also. It's brought it to its heights in terms of popularity. But let me tell you, to me, everything about it is professional now, and I don't think it's good. I think it's a direction that's great for TV, great for the fans per se, but from a coach's perspective, it's really almost sad to see.
No, it has. And I was talking earlier about the NFL games are almost unwatchable. You can't make a tackle by getting up and celebrating yourself like and the league promotes all this crap, and it's trickled down into college football. How many times do you see it also now in the collegiate game? Things that used to be penalized immediately. I don't know, man. There's a lot of problems going on, especially in the NFL. And unfortunately, those guys look up trying to be NFL players, right, already in college with the money they're making. So
when I got into this business, I was told 2 words: be humble and hardworking. And this is a profession and a game that you can be humbled in a New York second. I mean, it's just, and I'll tell you, I've always believed this, when they go out and they make a play and they want to celebrate, I don't have a problem with the celebration, but go turn to your teammates and celebrate with them. Because, it's a way of because if they don't do their job, you're not able to make that play. It's not going to work. And that's what's wrong with football today. The only team in the NFL I keep up with is the Indianapolis Colts, because the D coordinator, Lou Anarumo, was my GA at Syracuse. And when he got fired by the Bengals, I texted him. I said, they just did you a favor.
He's right. You're right.
And now he's with the Colts, and I was so happy for him. So I watch the Colts because I'm invested in them, because, we've had we worked at Purdue together. We worked at Marshall together. But I helped him in his career, and as he helped me. Great coach, great guy, Lou Anarumo. So that's the only NFL team I watch.
Well, Coach, listen, as always, man, I really appreciate the conversation. Good insights, as always. And then later on, if you didn't get enough of Coach Elmo, well, tonight you'll be on Greg Roberts Live down in WFIR.
I'm going to call Steiny back, and I'll tell him.
Call Steiny. Tell him I said I'm sorry I made him delay talking to you.
Well, hey, I don't get many calls from head coaches. So it's like getting a call from the President of the United States. You don't take that call, he may never call me back. I just hung up on the head coach of Roanoke.
You just hung up. Yeah.
All for you, Rick. Yeah. All for you.
Thank you, Coach. Tell him it's my fault.
Did you get that picture I sent? I text you of Carl Tacey, John Wooden, and Hank Norton. I don't know if you ever got it.
I don't think so. Send me that.
I have the picture in my room here that I kept with me and endeared with me ever. It was Carl Tacey, Hank Norton, and John Wooden.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
I think Carl Tacey, Hank hired him from Pulaski High School, the great coach at Wake Forest. I think because he went from Pulaski to coaching basketball at Fairman when I was a student at Fairman. He had Bobby Stevens, Charlie Thomas, and a kid named Larry Robinson. They played Vincennes in the national championship in junior college in 1970. Bobby Stevens is the kid that hit the 3-pointer, the 2-pointer that beat and won the NIT for Virginia Tech in 71 or 2, whatever. Great stories of these kids. When Carl ended up going to Marshall, then ended up going to Wake Forest. And at that time, he had the best record against Dean than anybody in the ACC. But it's a classic. I was a student. I was going to summer school. I was a quarterback at Ferrum, and I would sit, and Coach Wooden was there for the whole week at a basketball camp. And I would sit outside of the gym, old Schwartz gym, and he was so great and so gracious. And, and he would talk to us as, players that were there in summer school. And but I sent you that picture. I thought you'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Yeah. Coach Wooden is the greatest basketball coach of all time. And that's the one time in my life I've been visibly nervous. We had him on the show back in 2004.
Did you
promoting?
really?
Yeah, he was promoting one of his books. And the conversation went on for like 40 minutes because I knew the history and we were able to talk. And it was at the beginning, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to, the greatest of all time, Coach Wooden. And then he just made it sound like, you didn't care after that. You just kind of had this conversation with this very wise, just amazingly intelligent. And then we lost him about, 5 years later, obviously. But yeah, that was the one time in my life where I was like, shaking when I started that interview. I was a little uptight.
I'm sure as you were interviewing him, I mean, we were just I was just a student athlete. I was a quarterback at Ferrum, and obviously we, in awe of UCLA basketball and what they've done in the late '60s and winning. And I was a big fan of UCLA basketball, and but he would spend whatever time you had. Yeah. And he would share his philosophies and thoughts in terms of the sport. And do you know one thing? When he played on the away, when he was away, those locker rooms were spotless.
Yes, he would not let anybody leave unless it looked exactly the way it was before they got there.
Those days are over.
Yeah, those days are over. Yeah, you're right.
Well, listen,
Coach,
enjoy Todd Grantham. Hey, let me make a statement about Roanoke College. I'll let you go.
Yeah.
I think this is why he wants to talk to you, but I text Brian after the game. They lost to Washington in the league. But the first half against Randolph-Macon, Hampton-Sydney, and Washington Lee, they're in the game. It's no more than a 3 or a 4 point swing at that time. It's the second half that just starts steamrolling for the reason. So I texted him. I said, hey, you're one class away from making it a 3-quarter game. And then you're 2 classes away from getting to a 4-quarter game. So hang in there, because what he's done there with freshmen and sophomores in a league that you better have juniors and seniors to win that league.
Yeah.
You have to develop them.
Absolutely.
And get them to the senior year. He's doing it with freshmen and sophomores, Rick. So that's my
tell him I said hello, and tell Greg I said hello later if you would.
I'll do that. I appreciate everything. Tell Todd Grantham, give him my best, my favorite as always.
We'll do it. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you, man. All right, brother. Good stuff.
Bye.
Phil Elmassian. Check him out tonight on WFIR. Great stuff from Coach Elma. Terrific. Just terrific. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room or on the professional door text line 3910788. Let me know. Let me know what's going on. Lots of great comments right there. I've been holding off on talking about coaching jobs in Virginia Tech because this gentleman is joining me next because he's very smart about things like that. His name's Todd Grantham. What's up, brother? Good morning, Coach.
Hey, buddy. How you doing this morning? Hey, you better check your followers, man. I think you got people following you to get some intel for next Saturday's college game day. I mean, I don't usually get to watch, those deals, but I do kind of like to watch it with Nick on there. And they actually had exactly what we were talking about last week. 1 possession, end of the game deal. Nick was critical of Oklahoma and Tennessee and how that game ended up. And then he brought up the Mario should taking a knee. So I really think he is. I think they're following you, man. I think they're following your deal.
That's the second time that's happened. It happened earlier with the whole tech job. Yeah.
I mean, if they're going to try to increase prices, they ought to at least get their own ideas.
That's right. They
should just give you the $20 credit they're trying to give everybody else.
Yeah, I would take it. I would take it. I love the fact that as a YouTube customer, they're telling me I have to do these things to get the $20 credit instead of them just knocking it off my bill, right?
Right.
Anyway.
I hear you.
Well, let's get right into it. The latest on your opinion, what you've heard, where are we with James Franklin and Virginia Tech in their search? I think a lot of people, I mean, you and I just scoff all weekend. We see so many ridiculous things that are posted by different people.
At the end of the day, at the end of the day, man, it's like running on the treadmill. You know what I mean? Like you're running on the treadmill and you're not really moving or going anywhere. I mean, I remember back in the day when I used to run on the treadmill, you'd be on there for about 8 minutes and you'd be like, start breathing heavy. And you'd be like, all right, I'm going to get this. You'd look straight ahead and you'd look down and it'd say 8:30. I'm like, geez, I've only been 30 seconds longer. But no, I think that at the end of the day, you know, the whole purpose of their plan, in my opinion, was probably to get in position to be aggressive coming up real soon. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some of the reports about, you know, they've offered this and that, I don't really think any of that's true. I think what they've done is they got the committee and they got layers. If you look at it, they have layers to the way they're going to hire it to really protect everybody involved, to say this is the best person for Virginia Tech. And at the end of the day, with the committee, I'm sure they have it down to 3, 4, 5 guys. You know what I'm saying? And they have that. And obviously, they could have already talked to Franklin. I think everybody knows that because he's available. But I think the interesting thing that'll happen now is once you get, and obviously he's probably their top guy, but with the committee and the layers that they have, they're not going to do anything until they talk to someone else. I mean, you just have to, you owe it to the university and to yourself that you've set it up this way to make sure that you make the best hire because, you know, it is a big decision. And I think when you look at that, I think that really starting, I would say after this week's games, moving forward, you know, people, one, have already qualified for bowl games. People are out of championship games because now every conference has a championship. So those things have kind of been settled. I think the interesting thing for people would be to say, all right, of the people that, hey, you're listening, like, you know, obviously South Florida's going to have a guy that people are going to talk to. Tulane's going to have a guy. I know I've heard you mention the guy at JMU. Obviously Franklin's available. So when you start looking at, hey, these are my candidates, well, then you got to start figuring out, rather than they offer the job or not, like, when are they going to talk to the guy? And what I mean by that is when are your opportunities to talk to someone during the season? Well, if you play a Saturday, obviously Sunday's a possibility. So who could they talk to this coming Sunday? The other time during the week is really Thursday nights. So you could have a Thursday night deal sometimes. But then after that, it kind of gets into like who plays on Thanksgiving Day or who plays on a Friday, because now you get an extra day. I can give the staff off and I can go interview. Like when I was with Nick, for example, you know, we never got days off, right? He said, hey, I'm going to give you guys this day off. Well, he gave us this day off because he went and interviewed with the New York Giants for their job.
Right.
So he didn't want anybody around and everything. So I think that's the biggest thing is over the next 3 weeks, the purpose of having the committee and doing it so early is you have your targets of who you want to go, because it's going to go pretty fast. Like the whole negotiation thing is pretty quick. It's basically, do you want the job? I mean, it'll be a little bit more than this, but at the end of the day, do you want the job? Yes, I want the job. Well, here's how many years you're going to get, years of service. This is your pay. This is your buyout. And that's basically a one-sheet thing. Once that's signed, hey, you move on. Because everything else has already been discussed as far as salary for staff, salary for recruiting and all that. Now, once you sign that paper, they can publicly, say, hey, we've signed our guy, whatever. Now, after that, there's going to be a 75-page paper with all these other things that get done at a later time. You know what I mean? But as far as being able to announce and basically say, hey, in good faith, we're going to take this guy, I mean, that'll be done pretty quickly. And things will happen, in my opinion, pretty quick the week before Thanksgiving. And it'll go pretty quick because you're going to be competing with some other people. I mean, when you look at it, there's other jobs that are available now, and there's always going to be a surprise. what's that surprise? Well, I don't know, but I mean, obviously you have Maryland that's close to you. That's a possibility. North Carolina, with Coach Belichick, there's nothing to say that, I mean, the Giants lost their fourth straight game by having a lead with 10. They had 10.
Yeah.
I think I saw the stat. They've lost 4 road games when they've been up by 10 or more points.
Yeah, it's insane.
And you just can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So those things are going to come up. So there will be a surprise because nothing ever goes the way as you plan. Just like a game, a football game is never perfect. Even though you may think you crushed the team or, it's never perfect. It's never the way you think. But that's why you have a plan and you just put the plan in place. So I think Virginia Tech's plan would be, hey, we've targeted our guys. We know who we want. And then we're going to go pretty rapid because the other thing is you got to figure out or coordinate how you're going to talk to guys because you're not going to bring candidates to Virginia. You're not going to bring them to Blacksburg.
Right.
You're not going to fly them into that airport. You're going to meet them at another destination, whether you fly to them or they fly to you. You can also Zoom it, but before you hired somebody, I think you would want to meet them face to face and be able to go that route. So I think those are the things that you're going to kind of see over the next 3 weeks, really starting after this week's games.
Well, and all that makes sense. And all these people that are reporting, hey, Ava Tech's made a formal offer. Well, no, they haven't, because if that's the case, they can't talk to anybody else because no coach is going to go, okay, let's go waste our time over there. They've already offered James, right? It's just
No, none of us have ever. Well, I didn't get that job. It was something happened. Hey, I didn't want it, or we decided. I mean, and truthfully, when you start talking to somebody in the interview, like you get excited, and you're kind of like, all right, I want this job, or it's kind of like, I don't think I want this job. I mean, I interviewed one time for a job. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna do this. Actually, when first time I interviewed with Nick, I thought there's no way in hell I'm getting this job because we started sitting in his office. And I was at Virginia Tech, and I went to East Lansing and interviewed with him, and we started talking about technique play and what hand goes down, and I was totally different than the way he had learned it, and I gave my reasons why, and then he yelled at me for like 10 minutes about what I did, and I'm like, well, there's no way in hell I'm getting this job, and we kept on going, and I had Cornell Brown, and I had J.C. Price, and so we started watching tape, and he's like, damn, I like the way your guys play and whatever. So at the end of the day, I got offered the job before I left. But 15 minutes into that interview, I'm like, ain't no way in hell I'm getting this job. So he's already yelling at me, but you just never know how it goes. But honestly, I think that was his plan to see how I'd handled it. That's kind of his way of coaching. He's going to create stress to see how you handle it. You know what I mean? And I think that was part of the interview, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's kind of cool to look back on that. And yeah, I think you're right. He had a plan. And that seems to be the biggest question for Tech fans. Do they have a plan? What's it like? What's the structure going to look like? Let me just ask you, because a lot of people have been wanting me to ask you this, the way they have it set up now with Witt, obviously he's not involved or he is involved, whatever it might look like. How do you think that affects, or how would that affect you? Let's say you're up for a head coaching job in Blacksburg and you got to get there and go, okay, so this is the AD that hired the previous 2 guys. You're telling me he's going to stay, but he's not going to have any authority on football. So who am I going to come in and who am I going to, answer to? You think that's maybe going to affect this thing long term?
Not really. I mean, I think that here's what's going to happen. First of all, you have some football guys on the committee between Bruce and Bud, and they know what good coaches are.
Right.
So you're gonna have that. They have a plan for who they want to hire and the things that they're looking for. So when they get into the details, at the end of the day, okay, let's just say the AD is not the person you answer to. Well, that means I'm answering to the president. That's totally normal. I mean, so obviously you're going to have someone you answer to, AD or president. And if you come in and you say, well, the person you deal directly with is the president, I mean, that's not unusual. I mean, Nick didn't answer to any AD I was ever with when I was with him. Meaning when I was with him at Michigan State, the AD there, I don't think actually he was allowed in the building after one meeting. And basically Nick went to the president, you know what I'm saying? And then at Alabama, the AD was no different than me or anybody else. He had to get an appointment to go see Nick. When Nick was in his office, he had to have an appointment to go see me. He just couldn't walk in. Whereas when I was at Florida, Dan and Strickland, their offices were side by side. He'd just walk in like you'd be in there talking about recruiting, and all of a sudden Scott would just pop in. And so everything is set up differently. Every situation works. I think at the end of the day, there's a chain of command. You're the leader. Here's the vision you want. Like I told you, it needs to always go back to discipline, accountability, and toughness. But here's the person that I answer to, and this is our communication chain. And I think that's the biggest thing is what's your communication chain with the people above you so that they understand because, football is a great sport. It's popular. And a lot of people have a lot of opinions on the game and how it should be played or what should happen and all that kind of stuff. And I'm talking through social media. Well, if you're a person that's a president or AD and you listen to that stuff, I mean, all you're doing is creating misery for yourself because, 90% of it's not accurate. So that's why the chain of command is important, that you communicate with the head coach to know exactly where you are and what's going on and that kind of thing. So I think that has zero to do with it because the person that takes the job has really already researched, all right, this is my salary pool. This is the recruiting base for the area. This is the conference we're in. This is where I expect it. And I think the biggest thing for him is going to be, what are your expectations? And you can say championships and all that, and that's great, but there has to be a systematic process to getting to that. Meaning like, hey, do you expect us to come in and be, ACC champs next year? Or do you, like, for example, I've taken jobs and it was kind of like, hey, I want us to get to a bowl game every 3 years. Or I've taken jobs and we need to get to the SEC championship game next year. I mean, the standards are different. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to know that going in and communicate on the reasons you're having success and the things that you need moving forward, because there'll be things that come up during the course of developing your staff or developing your team for next year that you got to address. And your ability to communicate and get those things solved allows you to have the success you want to have on the field.
Well, that'll make Tech fan feel a little better because people that are concerned about that. Let me ask you this. What about other jobs? What kind of other gigs that are out there that you think could sway Tech one or the other? As you mentioned, there's a lot of jobs that are open and more they're going to come open here very soon.
Yeah, I think that, it's hard because right now you're on idle. Like you're ready to go. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you're sitting there at a drag race, man, like let it get the green and let's go. And it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? So I think when you look at it, the purpose of what they did was to put themselves in position that when the market opened, per se, that I could go hire a coach. One, I'd identified the characteristics that I think are important. I've researched these guys and their backgrounds, and I feel that these guys are the most qualified guys for me. Okay. And I have that in a pecking order. Like if I got 4, I already got my list down to 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go at them in that way, but I'm going to interview at least 1 to 2 guys. Okay. And then from there, what's going to happen is somebody's going to take another job. Okay. Well, that guy's out. Well, what's my next step? It's just like the draft in the NFL. When we get ready to draft a guy, all of a sudden that guy gets taken before us. Well, who's your next guy? Who's your next highest rated guy? Because, what's interesting is when you talk about affecting Virginia Tech, like for example, Nick Saban wasn't the first choice of LSU. Okay, when he went there, I mean that became a kind of a thing that just happened, and he wasn't the first choice at LSU. Just like Marcus Freeman is doing a great job at Notre Dame, he wasn't the first choice of Notre Dame. I mean that was actually Luke Fickell, and because they were in the playoffs, it didn't happen, and Notre Dame wasn't going to wait, so they ended up hiring Marcus Freeman. And truthfully, DeBoer was not the first pick of Alabama when they hired him. The guy at Florida State, Norvell, was the first option. And that's why you have the buyout you have at Florida State, because they were 13-0 and didn't want to lose that. And it is hard. It is hard to get the guy that can get everything in place. Meaning it's not just the head coach. It's the people around him.
Yeah, 100%.
Meaning you have to have qualified, experienced people around you at all levels, whether it's coordinator, assistant coaches, and you kind of get it going. Like you have the vision, you have the blueprint for what you want, but at the end of the day, you have to hire these people to go do the job. So, I wouldn't worry about it being like, it is important that you get the right guy. but I wouldn't freak out like if you don't get your quote top guy, because there's other guys that have been hired that ended up being just fine. There's guys that, I mean, no, but when Florida hired Billy Napier, he was the savior, A+. Well, they haven't been to a quality bowl game since we left, to be honest with you. And I mean, you just never know how that's going to affect you. But as far as jobs you're talking about, one, I think that's the purpose of having the committee already lined up, meaning we have our 4 guys. So, for example, Auburn would be a job that is in your geographic area that could potentially affect you. Okay. So they're going to get a little bit of head start, but other ones like, let's say Florida State or a Big Ten or Maryland, or let's say one of those came open. Well, you're already ahead of the curve, meaning they got to find out, hey, am I going to use a search committee? Is the AD going to hire it himself? Is he going to get a committee? Well, then if he's going to get a committee, so all that stuff takes time. So while they're trying to game plan to make their decision on what they want as a head coach, you already have your order and you're going down that road. You're saying, hey, this guy's coming in day one. And then after he leaves 4 hours later, we're bringing in the next guy, and then we're bringing in the next guy. And then from there, we're going to make our decision within 24 to 48 hours tops. And we're moving on. And while you're doing that, other teams are trying to decide, like, okay, what are we going to do and how are we going to hire a guy? So I don't really think that any jobs other than possibly Auburn could really affect you right now, because I don't think the process of hiring someone would go that fast.
Hey, finally, Coach, let me ask you, who's the best team in college football? I mean, what Indiana did was very, very cool, the way they rally. Who's the best team right now? Is it Ohio State? Is it somebody else?
You know, I think it's going to end up the way they play on that given day, to be honest. I mean, you just never know. I mean, like, Indiana did a good job. I personally think Texas A&M, with the way they play, I think they're pretty good, because they can manufacture rush without having the pressure. They have a good blitz package as well. They got athletes. They can play multiple. They can play 3 down and 4 down. Their quarterback does a good job. The only thing that he hasn't had yet is a situation like the guy at Indiana where he had to make a 2-minute drive to go win the game. Can he do that? Because when you look at a lot of the plays he made, you know, we're kind of like, hey, throw it in the flat, throw a screen, and the guy makes the guy miss, and the guy goes 50 yards for a play. So that's not really throwing the ball down the field. You know what I'm saying? So, but I do think that if you look at the teams they've had to play, I mean, and the way they've won the games and physicality that they play with, I think they're pretty good. And I'll be honest with you, I think as long as Alabama plays somebody that's ranked, they're okay. I mean, every time they play somebody ranked, they play really good.
It's true.
Once they play somebody like South Carolina or someone that's not ranked, I mean, they end up, you know, having to come from behind to play. And I think they got a quarterback that is made of the right stuff. So I think that there's probably about 4 or 5 teams. I think obviously Ohio State's one, Indiana, and then I think when you start looking at other teams, Texas A&M and Alabama, those are probably, in my opinion, the top 4. Would not discard Georgia. I'll be honest, Georgia creates more problems than I think the normal fan would look at, because what happens is one, they have a quarterback that can run, he can make some throws, and they have all these tight ends that can make other formations. And I know that to a fan, like, you know, that's not a big deal, but like all of a sudden they put 3 tight ends out there. Well, you're going to match it. So if you decide to match it and they spread you out like it's a 3 wide set, well, now how are you playing that? Because now you're playing with big people in space. So I think if you look at Georgia's offense this year, it's probably been one of the most dynamic. The thing that I don't think they do well enough is they do a great job stopping the run. They're multiple, but they really don't manufacture pass rush with 4 guys quite like the other teams do that I just talked about. And at some point, you're going to have to rush 4 guys and affect the quarterback. And then your ability to cover outside, like if you look like the Tennessee game and even the I think it was another SEC game I saw where outside, you know, they've given up some plays outside with their corners. And look, that's going to happen because you're in one-on-one a lot. But I think those are the 2 areas that they probably got to work on defensively. And if that happens, I mean, they'll be in it, and somebody will have to, you know, beat them and knock them out. So I think there's a lot of ball left to play. I think you can improve, but I think that ends up being the top 4 teams, in my opinion.
It was interesting how Drinkwitz was asked directly about what Elko do. You talk about that rush and everything, and he said, "Guys, you don't have enough time for me to tell you what he did to us." He goes, he killed us. Do you think that hurts Drinkwitz? I mean, I like the honesty, but it was kind of interesting the way he just immediately said, "Yeah, we weren't ready for what Elko threw at us."
Yeah, it's all about the looks, man. We're going, because quarterbacks are taught, right? And they're taught, okay, to read basically the safeties and the alignment of the nickel. Well, if I know what your teaching method is and what you teach, meaning, let's just say, all right, the safety's down weak. Hey, the safety's down weak, so we got to rip Liz our protection that way. Well, you have a mechanism for how you're going to snap the ball. Like everybody uses a clap now, right? Well, I can give you that look to make you think that we're coming this, and when you give the clap to bring it to get the ball, well, I can rotate and come the other way. So when you start talking about pressure and things like that, it's kind of like, how is the guy taught and what's his rules? And then I want to take the things he's been taught over the last 10, 11 weeks, plus, spring training and August. And I want to take those rules and that vision that he has and use it against him. And that's really what it gets down to. And there's honestly only about, the guy at Ohio State does a good job with it. The guy at A&M does a good job with it. There's only a handful of guys that kind of do those kind of things. And it's hard for the quarterback because you're taught your whole life, all right, when I see this look, throw it here. Yeah. And then all of a sudden now the ball snapped and, hey, that pitcher changed. So it's all about changing the pitcher to make the quarterback make a post-snap read on where he needs to throw the ball. Because most quarterbacks, before they get the ball, they know where they're going to throw the ball. You know what I mean? And what you want to be able to do is how can I change that pitcher once the ball snapped? And that ends up being the whole deal that you got to be good at. And that's probably one of the biggest things that I learned from Nick and being around him. And that's truthfully why when you look at Peyton Manning, arguably one of the best quarterbacks ever. And that's where I really bought into it is when I was with Indianapolis and we played Belichick, we never beat them in the years I was there when it really mattered because they did such a great job of hiding their quarters, cover 2, their strong side rotation. Like we go play another team and I'm talking about during practice, and they knew, hey, if this guy's a 9 technique over here outside the tight end, they're coming from the other side. We're sitting in the practice, and Peyton would just be carving guys up in practice. Well, you'd get to the New England game, and hey, man, you're not and I was walking out of the halftime. Vic was our coordinator, and I'm walking out, and I think we're losing the game 10-3. I said, "Oh hell, Vic, we better shut them out." He goes, "It's just 10-3." I go, "Well, all I know is I was behind the quarterback and the quarterback coach, and our quarterback's telling the quarterback coach, there's nowhere to throw the ball against this defense." So I think we're in trouble, and we ended up getting beat, and that's kind of where a lot of the things that I ended up believing in, from being multiple to disguises, came from my years, obviously with Nick, but watching Peyton and how he struggled with what I would call post-snap movement to make him read the defense once he got the ball. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, it's a totally different picture because in your mind, you're thinking, all right, before I get the ball, I'm throwing this ball to my right. And then all of a sudden, man, the ball snapped and I can't throw it to my right. So where am I going? And I think those are the things that are the intricacies of the game that can make it hard on a quarterback.
Nah, it's great stuff, man.
Yeah, but how about the other one there? I don't know if you saw the Colorado game. By the way, you can look. Everybody's got the book now. We talked about it about 2 weeks ago on the sidelines. All the coaches, Elko, all these guys. If you ever watch the head coach next Saturday, you'll always see a guy behind him with a book, and it's a book. And what it is, it's the 2-minute book or the go for it book. And I actually saw that a few times, but they don't have a book at Colorado because, like, when I was watching, I was flipping back and forth, and the game was 21-19. Colorado was playing West Virginia, and there was a minute 21 to go on the clock. They had the ball like the 15-yard line. They got 3 timeouts, and it's 4th and 13. So it's a 2-possession game. Kick the field goal, kick the onside kick, or you could actually kick it deep. You could actually kick it deep with 3 timeouts and get the ball back. and Colorado called timeout, which totally then meant the game was over. Meaning if whatever I did, if I kick a field goal, I got to kick the onside kick. If I don't get the onside kick, the game's over. Because I just wasted a timeout. And I thought that was interesting. Like not a big deal was made about it, but I'm like, game's over. You just cost your team an opportunity to have two ways to win the game at the end. Number one is obviously you kick the field goal to make it a one possession game, and then you can kick the onside kick, or you can actually kick it deep with 3 timeouts and get it back with 40 seconds or whatever left, and then you got a chance to go score. So that was one of those. I kind of look at things like that more now than I did before, just to kind of stay involved in decision making at the end of the half and in the game, just to see what's going on. Because actually on the other side of it, Kirby did something that we've actually had done to us, which I really think is a good idea. Is he ran his punt team out there? Okay, so you obviously have subs and you run your punt return team out. Okay, well, they get over to the side. Well, he changed them back. Because what happens on defense is when the guys come off the field, they start heading to the bench.
Right.
Well, you can't do that. You have to wait until the ball is punted, because they can sub back. And if they sub back, you got to go back out, because I got to sub, because all the guys on punt return are not all defensive players. Some are receivers, running backs, whatever, to hold guys up. And they actually did it twice in the game, and they forced Mississippi State to burn a timeout. So I thought that was a great coaching deal right there, that kind of, it forced them to use the timeout, which they wouldn't have available to them at the end of the half. So that was pretty interesting. Yeah.
Well, Coach, listen, brother, appreciate you as always, man. Great stuff. Something breaks with Tech, we'll try to get you on here, maybe a little special edition here in the next few days. We'll see.
No problem. Take care of yourself. See you,
buddy. All right, brother. There you go. Great stuff from the coach, Todd Grantham, my former teammate at Pulaski County High School. Great stuff today. Thanks to Jermaine Ferrell. Thanks to Coach Elmassian and Coach Grantham. Appreciate all of our wonderful sponsors. Ready, Set Fund, ReadySetFund.com. Go check them out. Thanks to Professional Door Incorporated. Travis Williams, go see him. They're looking for workers. Don't hesitate. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST here on YouTube. The attorney Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street in Radford. Trust and estate planning. And we're going to use that, by the way. Who's going to play in the ACC title game? 2 teams. Give us your opinion. That's our BDST fan question of the week. We're presented every day. Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Thank you so much to Jonathan Sweet, and congratulations on the announcement of opening the racetrack. That is awesome stuff. Want to thank Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic, for sponsoring our chat room. Chat room explodes more and more every week. It's great. Thanks, Mark. Keep up the great work, making people feel better. And to Jason Green, everybody at Family Fencing, go by and check out your free quote, 540-200-8294. Thanks to Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, North Franklin Street, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg, the NRV Super Bowl. Want to thank Top Shelf Apparel for the shirts. If you want any shirts, hit me up with your orders. Get them together. If it's shipped, it's $27. If it's just straight up, $20 per shirt, how you want. $27 per shirt. Well, no, I can get 2 or 3 shirts in a package. So I'm going to stick with $27 if you need them shipped. All right. Just hit me up on our Professional Door text line at 391-0788, or DM me, anything like that. Email me, whatever you want to do. And we can figure out your shirt situation. Congrats to the Ridgejacks. Yeah, Paul, no doubt. Great stuff there from Coach Grantham. Todd laid that out about what's going on with Franklin and Tech, and I think I agree with that more and more I hear. I think everybody's jumping the gun a little bit by saying there's been a solid offer made. Tech wouldn't do that. Didn't sound like that's what happened and at all. So you see all these reports. Don't worry about it. And like you said, they're going to have a good football coach. We've been saying that all along. They're not going to get out of this without a good football coach with Bruce Arians and Bud Foster part of it. They're going to make sure they get a good football coach. So I haven't been worried about it. I haven't. So I don't know who it's going to be yet. Maybe it is Franklin in the long run, but good stuff, man. Good stuff all the way around. We'll be here tomorrow before we head to Chapel Hill for Radford in North Carolina. See you in the morning, everybody. Take care. Thanks for watching. We need one more subscriber for 700. Let me double check. We need one more subscriber. That's all we need to get to the magical 700. We're there. Look, we did it. We did it. 700. Yay. All right. We'll put something up on the board. We'll celebrate it tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please continue to subscribe, like, and share. When we get to 1,000, we got a little time here on the show on YouTube. So that'd be great. Thank you so much to everybody. Your support means everything. All our sponsors. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Take care, everybody. We love 700. See